Hi guys. Today we have Jade Johnson with us here today. And Jade, I got the pleasure to meet you about a year ago or so at a sellers meet, and ever since then, I've been following you and watching your journey through making money on the internet in alternative ways, diversifying away from Amazon and such. And it's been awesome to watch it all. So figured this would be a great chance to get you on a call and kind of go a little bit deeper into all of this. So if you want to give like a little intro on yourself, what you do, and yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. For one, I love talking about UGC, but also for two, I know you guys are e-commerce people and you know, as an e-commerce person, we're used to profit margins of 10 to 15% for your business. And actually overall, that's pretty standard across the board for other businesses too. But when you have a creator business and you do UGC, your profit margins can actually be 85 to 90%. So that's one of the reasons why I love UGC so much. Along with that, just the flexibility that it provides too is really great. So as I introduce myself, I would just like you guys to settle in, get some pen and paper if you want to take notes, get some water, get ready, because I'm definitely going to be giving you guys a lot of really juicy tips on how you can get started, how you can be successful, and how you can do this all really quickly and also with minimal effort. So, I'm really excited to jump in today. First, I will give a little introduction about me if you guys don't really know me or who I am. But my name is Jade Johnson, and I'm a stay-at-home mom of two little ones. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So they definitely keep me very busy, but that has not stopped me from, just pursuing my dreams and doing everything that I want to do. So I firmly believe that even as a mother, you can still have a wildly successful business and you can build it around your lifestyle that supports your life. So you can still be a very present mom and have a wildly successful business. That's kind of like what I'm all about, in addition to just diversifying your income streams. And also the key here is having aligned income streams. So you might hear me mention this a couple times, but basically when I think about making money, like I'm always going to do so in a way that it supports my life. Like it supports, my kids, like the events that they have going on. I'm going to be able to just take off for the day if I need to, everything like that. Also getting paid very well for my time and my expertise because as a busy mom, I am really fucking busy. So it's like if I'm going to be doing anything, I definitely need to be getting paid well for it. So on average with UGC, I earn a minimum of $100 per hour. That's just kind of how I have it set up for my rates and where I'm at. And I definitely didn't start there. But the industry standard rates across the board, I'll talk to you guys more about that. You can get paid well, even as a beginner. Even as a beginner, I was charging $150 per video. So just some quick things there. But I have been creating content now since 2020. That's when I first, wanted to make money online. I started getting into it. I actually took a webinar. It was like a 7-day webinar about how to run a seven-figure business online. And in that webinar, they talked about a lot of different income streams. And the one that really stood out to me was just creating content and having a personal brand and being able to monetize from many ways through there. So digital project, digital products and coaching, partnerships, getting paid for UGC, things like that. So it took me a few years to actually dive into UGC because I was just kind of scared. And it was also a very lucrative side hustle back then. Like, not many people talked about it. So I didn't even know how the heck to get started or anything. So I didn't get started until 2022. That's when my daughter was born. She was a couple of months old when I got started. And I was just like, look, like I don't want to continue working at the restaurant. I had been a restaurant server for 8 years. I needed to find a different way to make money. So I started looking into UGC and doing some other things online. I was a virtual assistant as well. But when I first took the leap and I decided I want to be a UGC creator, I want to get paid for creating content without having a big following or needing to post on my account, I started a few things. I started getting my portfolio together. I hopped on Fiverr. In that first week, it was literally well before a week too. It was like my third or fourth day after deciding I was going to do UGC. I made my first $500. It was for 3 videos that were very simple, and it was $500. So I was like, holy crap, all I needed was my iPhone for this and a tripod. That's like I already have my iPhone and the tripod cost me $20. Like this is insane. And I realized like, okay, this is actually very simple and very scalable, and I can make a lot of money with this. So as I got into it, I perfected my craft, and I wouldn't say I'm perfect yet, or even like an expert UGC creator. I would say I'm definitely, I mean, I'm not honestly probably an expert. I don't give myself enough credit. I am really good, but I didn't start that way. It took some time, but all you guys really need to know and be good at to do UGC is you need to be able to get on camera. You need to practice talking on camera, which I know a lot of you guys are already creating content and you're familiar with, showing your face and you guys have personal brands. And then other than that, it's learning basic marketing skills. So, what looks good on video? What's the type of shots you need to take? What's the type of verbiage or tone of voice that you need to have? Like, I get a lot of compliments on how I speak on camera and like the tone of voice that I use and how I like emote. So all of these things are going to come in time. Like I said, I didn't start out that way, but I, worked hard, I practiced, I put in the reps, and now I'm where I'm at. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this and share really what UGC is, what are the types of UGC that you can create, how you guys can get started this week if that's what you want to do, how you're going to actually get paid deals, not free or gifted collaboration. We're talking dollar bills, and how to actually find brands that need UGC. Yes, bring in the sauce. Okay, so UGC stands for user generated content. This is basically where brands will pay you to create content for them to use on their websites, on their social media for organic content or maybe paid ads. Whatever it is, it's for their usage, and you are not required to post this on your own account. So you don't need to have a big following or anything. I have less than 10,000 followers across like multiple platforms. On Instagram, I only have like 2.7. So you can totally do this without having a big following. Obviously, if you have a personal brand, that's just more leverage to get paid more money because now you can offer, hey, I'll post this onto my account if it's something that's aligned. I don't do that too much, only when it really like is within my niche of making money. But you totally can. And like I said, you can get paid more for that. So, yes, UGC user generated content. And basically the equipment required is an iPhone. I recommend an iPhone just because I like the quality of iPhone better, and I know that brands do as well. Samsung quality, like I'm sorry if there's any Samsung people in here, but it's just not really the same. So I would recommend an iPhone, but you don't need any other fancy equipment besides that. Like I said, a basic tripod, a ring light. You can get this stuff for less than $50 on Amazon, maybe even a little microphone if you want the quality to sound really good. But you don't need a lot to get started. So the types of UGC that you can create, I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys a couple examples so that you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I just have a Google folder with a bunch of my examples. So this is called a spokesperson video, and this is actually like my most common UGC style that I like to do. And okay, so as you can see, that was just a simple video of me talking. And I read the exact script that was given to me by the bank. And yes, I kind of mixed up my shots a little bit. So, it wasn't just like a standard me sitting down talking, even though I do a lot of those videos as well. But spokesperson videos basically is where the brand provides you with a script
No.
and you just say that on camera. And that's it. And there's not a lot of like fancy editing or transitions or aesthetic shots, anything like that. It's very simple. You are being a spokesperson for the brand. You are delivering the message that they want you to do. So this is actually the first UGC video that I did. The paid deal for $500 for 3 videos. This was one of them. So it was like I was a brand new creator. I just started out. I was like, let me get this little mic and let me say this script. Let me walk in front of this chair. That was it. So yeah, it was very quick. As you can probably imagine, videos like this, where you're only saying a 30-second script, it really doesn't take you more than 5 to 10 minutes to record on camera, and then maybe another 10, 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes for editing. If you're like completely new and you've never used CapCut before in your life, it might take you 30 minutes. But for me now, it takes me less than 5 minutes to edit a simple video like this and upload it and send it off for approval. So this is kind of what I was saying about how you can make, $100 per hour doing UGC. It's for reasons like this because it is so, it doesn't take a lot of time. Once you record, you edit, send it off. It doesn't take a lot of time. So that's a classic spokesperson video. This is a UGC ad. So this is something that's a little bit more curated, a little bit more, there's more creativity and planning that goes into it. Okay, so you can see that one is a little bit more, creative. Like I was saying, like there's B-roll there. This script was actually created by me. The shot list was created by me. All of the creative thinking behind it was me. So this is a paid ad. And paid ads can have different styles as well. They can be aesthetic and like put together and curated like this one, or they can actually be very simple like this one. So this is a retainer client that I had. I just recently offboarded them and now we're working together in a different capacity. But basically they paid me $800 a month to create very simple videos like this. And the whole objective of this like campaign was to have very organic and real looking content. So these took me literally 1 minute to make. It was so easy. Okay, so these three examples that you are seeing, like you see that two of them required very little editing. It was just me talking on camera. I added auto captions in CapCut. And, with this one, I was doing like a little tutorial. I flipped the screen around and I showed like product demonstration. So the examples that I'm showing you guys right now is they're not complicated. And I think that's like a big misconception for people with UGC is that you have to be really talented with editing and with like getting all of these crazy shots. And I'm telling you guys, I make $5,000 per month doing this, and the content that I create is very simple, just like this. Like, I actually hardly ever get like really creative projects, which requires like more dynamic filming and everything like that. I do, and I like doing it. You can't charge more money, but for me, I like being able to do it fast. I like it when I don't really have to do a lot. So I prefer them to send me the script just so that I don't have to do any extra work. I'll just read the lines on camera and that's it. So yeah, these are the examples of UGC. There's definitely a lot of other styles out there. Like you can have very aesthetic styles. You can have, I'm sure you guys have seen like the makeup UGC where there's like a bunch of close-up shots and like them putting on like lipstick and stuff like this. There is literally so many different types. And the reason I bring this up is because I think that there's a type for everyone. Like you can even do faceless UGC. If you don't want to be on camera, I actually have a friend that she's a UGC creator. She primarily creates faceless content, and she actually literally charges like four figures for every project that she gets, and it's all faceless content. And with her, she actually does have a pretty aesthetic office. So, if you're doing faceless content, it kind of would make sense that you would have a very nice looking space, just because like you're showing more of what you're doing. So, there's types for everybody. But with me, for example, I don't have an aesthetic house. So that's why I don't really show my house a lot. And if I do, it's like the vibe. Like I do some videos that are like messy motherhood for like some brands that's what the thing is. So it's like then, I can show my house with toys on the floor, clothes everywhere, like it's a mess and that's the vibe of the video. And that's aligned for me, because I don't want to go out of my way doing anything extra. I don't want to have to go film somewhere if I don't have to. So whenever it's aligned and it's like that, I love it. Okay, so how you guys can get started this week, and this is exactly what I did my first week and how I was able to land $500 for my first paid deal. So you want to get a portfolio so that you can really showcase your work. So you don't need to get too hung up on this. And this is the part that everyone gets hung up on. And I've watched this like countless, countless times. So I really encourage you in this moment to not let yourself overthink and be a perfectionist. What I want you to do this week, if you actually are going to start this, is be so committed to just putting out shit content, whatever it is. Like, use things around your house. I have this lotion here. I could make a UGC video about this. If I was a brand new beginner, I could take some aesthetic shots, smiling, like whatever. Don't overthink it. Don't make it perfect or whatever. Just work on getting the portfolio together because eventually, once you have that together, you start pitching brands or you get on these accounts that I'm going to tell you about, then you guys will actually get the paid projects and then you can start making a real portfolio. So, what's important when you just start is to actually just start and actually get something out there on your portfolio, whether that is a free one using Canva. I really like that method because I think that it does look more professional. You basically can have an entire website and it's like you can, kind of make it personal, have your own branding, your own colors on that. You can really give a lot of info about you, about your services, maybe even your prices if you want to list that on there. So that's great. And I was able to create my Canva website for free in that first week of when I got started because there's a lot of like templates that you can use. If you just type in portfolio or website on Canva, you can find it. So Canva is for the portfolio. So I'll show you mine right now. Let me pull mine up so you guys can see what mine looks like. But if you don't want to do a portfolio right now, like an entire actual website, then what you can do instead is you can have a Google folder, and brands really like to work in Google Workspace, whether that's Google Docs to approve scripts and like look at your storyboards, or it's to deliver content or whatever. Like brands just like Google Workspace because everyone has a Google account. So it just makes it very simple. So I'll go ahead and share my screen so that you guys can see um, my website. But basically, they can click on these links to go directly to my portfolio, my workflow, book a free 15-minute brand call. I have an intro video here, which yeah, this is my intro video. Um, the intro video, I actually created my first week as well. So I know this can seem like a lot, but like I was saying, like I really encourage you to move fast because the longer you take and the longer you wait to set all this stuff up, the less money that you guys are making. And trust me, when I actually started doing this and I made my first $500 in the first week, I was like kicking my own butt for not starting sooner. I was like, why did I wait literally like multiple years to actually do this? So I have some reviews right here. I've got different examples here. These are paid ads for apps. I've got paid ads for products, organic content, long form content, UGC photography, all this stuff. Let's work together and how to reach out. So all of this was done on Canva. It was a pre-existing template. So basically I just put all of my information and all of my videos on there. And then I added my colors because you guys know I like the pinks, I like the purples. So this is mine. I put this together pretty quickly. I have revamped it since starting out, of course. I haven't just left it as like my beginner portfolio, but even my beginner portfolio, it was very similar to this. It obviously just didn't have as much work as I have now. Yeah, it definitely looks professional for being a template. And also, this Canva website is free. So, you don't have to have the paid version of Canva, the pro version. If you do, that's even better. But if you don't, you can still get the free website using Canva. I personally bought my domain, which is jadeisabeljohnson.com, and that's what I linked up to Canva just so that I could have it look a bit more professional. But you guys don't have to do that. But if you do, it's only around 18 to 20 bucks to buy a domain. And then you also get the professional email as well, which I do really like how that is for brands when pitching because, obviously if you have contact at jadeisabeljohnson.com versus ugcbyjade@gmail.com, there is a difference in how they would perceive you and your professionalism and like level of expertise. Okay, let me get a drink, guys. Sorry, talking a lot. Okay, so what you are going to do this week is you are going to get at least, 2 to 3 videos. If you don't have any videos like this already, which I have a feeling that some of you guys might, just because you're already content creators and you have like personal brands on the internet. So with me, like I definitely had my own personal brand. So a lot of my portfolio examples at first were actually just videos that I had created as a normal content creator. And I just used those as my UGC examples because they still gave you you know, the same image of what I could do for you, how I speak on camera, how I edit videos, like all of that stuff. So, however you can do this stuff the fastest way possible, the easiest way possible, that's what I want you to do. If you already have some videos with you, like basically like spokesperson style coming on and talking, use one of those and then switch it up and actually create another one so that you have like a variety. Because what is important for your portfolio is that you're able to show different styles of content. Even if you don't want to do all of them, just showing that you're like a little bit diverse and you have a variety, that's going to be really helpful. So, yes, portfolio to showcase your work. You can do this for free on Google Folder, that's free, or Canva, that is also free. So next, you kind of want to have an idea of what your rates are going to be. And this is going to be different for everyone and kind of like what you're comfortable with and what is going to make it worth it for you to show up and work and do this project. So the standard rates for UGC as an industry is $200 per video. And so anytime like, you hear brands like lowballing on Fiverr or on Twitter offering like $25 for a video, $50 for a video. Well, some people, that really just need the cash and they're just trying to pick up an extra hustle, $50 per video, that might sound really good. Like that might be like, wow, like $50 per video, that's great. But the industry standard rate is $200 per video. And I do think it's important for all creators to kind of know what the rates are across the board because as a collective, we can kind of control where the market is. So if everyone starts charging $50 per video, that's going to make the people who do charge $200 per video seem like, crazy. So that's why it is really good to kind of be educated on what other people's prices are and where everybody else is at, but also like this is subjective to everybody, like I was saying, because some people are going to be comfortable with taking on those lower rates, especially at first. I know I was. I just wanted to secure projects so that I could get reviews on Fiverr, I could get testimonials, and I could get more portfolio examples so that I could show my work more. So I was definitely okay with taking on lower rates. And I would say that as a beginner, that's totally okay to do. But definitely, you know, increase those rates as you take on more project. Maybe after like 3 paid projects, you increase your rates by 25 or $50. But definitely keep increasing your rates because you are only going to get more experienced and become more of an expert as a creator. So the standard rates, like I said, $200 per video is usually the standard for one video. And when it comes to pricing, there is a lot that goes into it. So I'm not going to talk too much about it on this call because there is a lot that goes into it. But basically, um, when you're using content for paid ads, it's going to be treated differently as when you are purchasing content for organic use. And this is because when you are running paid ads, the brand has way more opportunity to make a lot more money because it's paid ads, right? Like they're going to get a lot more visibility. They're going to get a lot more conversions, signups, whatever the goal is. They stand to make a substantial amount more than organic content. So a lot of times what I find is that brands will reach out to you, hey, how much is one video? And I always have to ask, oh, thanks for reaching out. Is this going to be for organic or paid use? Because it's two different prices, right? So what I tell people is my rates now, I charge $300 per video. So I say my rates start at $300 per video. If you would like to purchase ad usage rights, you can do so for an additional 30% of the base rate. So what that means is I'm charging an additional 30% of the standard $300 per video. So that would be for 1 month of usage rights. So if you're there doing 3 months of usage rights, then it would be, more than that. It would be 30% times three. Sometimes if I want, I'll just do 50%. Like you can really play with it. And this was what I mean. Like it's subjective with everyone and how you want to negotiate or what you're comfortable with. But basically that's kind of the rule of thumb as far as ad usage rights, 30% of your total base rate. And it's really good to charge usage rights because if not, and if you just give away rights to your content in perpetuity, for example, which in perpetuity means basically forever in all ways. So if they want to use your content and actually make you into an AI avatar and then use you as the spokesperson for their brand, they can because you just gave them usage rights in perpetuity. So they can do anything. They can put you on TV and broadcast you and spend $500,000 on ad spend so that you're broadcasted everywhere in America and you only just got paid $500 for your original video. Like that's why it's really important to read the fine print and know like what goes into UGC contracts and how you can protect yourself because there is a lot that goes into this stuff. It's a very, very simple business, but with any business, there are little things that you need to know and you need to do so that you can be protected. So that's just one of them. Anytime you hear like usage rights in perpetuity, your ears should definitely be like, you should be on high alert and you should be charging multiple thousands, if not like over 10,000. And that's actually very normal. Other creators charge literally 10, 15,000, 20,000 for usage rights and perpetuity just because, they understand what that worth is. So have an idea of what your rates are going to be. If you're a beginner, you can charge $100 per video, $150. Do what you feel comfortable with, but know what your rates are so that you have an idea because the more educated and knowledgeable you are, the more confident you're going to be. And in negotiation, confidence is going to be key. You need to be able to portray yourself as an expert, even if you're not. We are faking it until we make it, okay? Even if we're complete beginners, we are going to have the same level of professionalism as we would a very experienced creator. So, my how I am with brands has not changed. From being a beginner to being like an expert now, I have remained the same. And I really think that you guys should too. Like, even just starting out, just have it in your mind. Like, you know your worth, you know the content that you make, and you can get paid for this. So, no free collaborations, no gifted projects. Like, we're not doing that. We can get paid. Um, so yeah, other thing is along with your rates, have a contract. So if you ask ChatGPT to create a UGC contract for you, it'll give you a very basic contract. You can kind of read through that and add in any other clauses that you'd want. But the important things that you want to have listed and like really are clear about is going to be the usage rights, how they're actually going to be using your content, whether it's organic, whether it's for paid use, whether it's for their website, whether it's for commercial rights, which is TV, or and also placement. So where are they going to be putting this content? Because like I said, like pricing, there's so much that goes into it. But for a video that's only going to be going on Instagram versus a video that's going to be going on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Lemonade, and Twitter, I would charge a lot more for the second one, right? Because that's just way more visibility and exposure and way more brand awareness and sales for them. So placement also matters. If they're going to be only posting on Instagram, I'll charge much less than if they're going to be posting on 5 platforms. Okay, so next, I want you to start pitching brands. And this is the other thing that like really trips people up. And it's funny because all of these things, these 3 things that I've mentioned, make a portfolio to showcase work, set your rates and grab a contract, and start pitching brands. This is literally it. This is literally the entire business as a whole. Like UGC and having a creator business is so simple. So aside from this, the only thing that you're going to be doing is, actually communicating with the brands and negotiating so that you can land the projects that you want and have the prices that you want and the rates, and also creating the content and editing and delivering it. So that in total is literally like five different tasks. That's entirely what this business is made up of. So very simple. When it comes to pitching brands, there's definitely a couple ways to go about this. So I like to break it down into two different methods. The first one is going to be called the go-getter method, and this is where you are actively seeking out brands to pitch them or apply for deals. So there's a lot of UGC platforms that are out there. A few notable ones that I've actually used myself and they are personally vetted and I've done well with is number one, Billow. I the first month that I tried Billow, I made $1,500. So, it was pretty simple. I have my intro video that I uploaded, and then all you have to do is you apply for jobs. And for me, I like to do softwares and apps because then I don't have to wait for shipping time for any like physical products to get to me. I want to be able to knock the project out and get paid for it. So on Billow, you can actually search for like actual physical products or just softwares and apps. So I always opt for the softwares and apps, like I said. Join brands, it's Billow, Billo. Okay, join brands is another one. I haven't had too much success with that one, but I personally haven't like really tried. But I do know many creators who are able to make multiple four figures per month just off of join brands. So I know that that one is a good one. You guys definitely can check out that. And the three platforms that I'm talking about right now, Billo, Join Brands, and Incense, all of those are very beginner friendly. So, all you have to do is have two to three portfolio examples, maybe a little intro video saying who you are, what you do, kind of what makes you different. Because there's tons of intro videos for UGC out there. So always be thinking about like, what is your unique selling value? How can you position yourself differently? What is the messaging? The third platform is Incense, Insense. Okay, so that is the go-getter method where you're actively seeking out brands to pitch them, whether it's through platforms or you're actually literally pitching them via email or Instagram DM or something like that. Good. I'm glad you guys are taking notes. Um, okay, so the go-getter method is definitely the one that kind of trips people up because people are lazy and they don't want to do it. But it's like you have to pitch and it's a numbers game. So if you actually want to hit 5K, 10K months with UGC, you need to be able to pitch brands and actually have a system for it. Whether that is you just doing it yourself or if you have an overseas VA, I'm going to talk about that a bit more later on because that is literally one of the biggest things that has gotten me to consistent 5K months with UGC, being able to outsource a VA who was able to send all of these pitches for me. So the other method, and I'm going to tell you guys how to find brands and how to actually pitch them as well. But the other method is called, I like to call it the lean back and attract method. So this is more so you are setting up accounts on Fiverr and Upwork. You guys might be familiar with those platforms. They are online freelance marketplaces. You can hire VAs, video editors, script writers, like ad people, whatever, on these different freelance platforms. So a lot of brands will want to find UGC creators on Fiverr and Upwork, and it's great. And I started on Fiverr when I first got started, and that's how I actually landed my first $500 project. That was through Fiverr. Literally the day after I set up my Fiverr account, um, I got the deal. So it was like crazy. It worked so fast. But with Fiverr, you have gigs. So you're basically creating a listing for yourself where you say, I will do UGC for your software or app, something like that. And you have a little description about, your work, maybe like the iPhone that you use, maybe like filming spaces, stuff like that. And then you also have your prices. So you're basically going to be creating a listing for your services. As a level zero seller on Fiverr, you can have, I think, up to seven listings, which is really good because that's seven entire opportunities for you to get out there and attract brands. So Fiverr, within the past 2 years since doing it, I've made almost $10,000 just from Fiverr. And like I said, this requires zero pitching on my end. All I had to do was set up the work up front, which was creating the listings. I had to make my intro video, which I was already doing anyway because I have that on my website and as a part of my portfolio. And I created the listings. I created 7 of them, one for UGC spokesperson. I did one for UGC product photography, one for like paid ads. There was like a couple different ones so that I could kind of test which one is like, which listing is popping off and getting the most sales. And then I was really going to lean into that one. But I started seeing success on Fiverr very quickly. And, like I'm saying, like why I like it is because you front load all of your work and then you literally can just sit back and now all of these inbounds, which is basically when a brand comes to you asking for a deal and, offers you work, that's what's called an inbound. So you just get all of these inbounds in daily once you set up your account and you have it optimized. So it's pretty great. The downside of Fiverr is that there are a lot of brands that will lowball you, like, $50, $75 per video. And it's kind of just the landscape there. A lot of creators do accept lower projects there, but it is really possible to set up your account and have it optimized and have it attract brands that are of higher quality, brands that are going to pay you 4 figures per project. And I've landed several 4 figure projects on Fiverr, so I know it's possible. And when I tell people that, people who have experience on Fiverr, they're like, oh my God, what? Like, that's crazy. I get $100 projects. And it's really all about how you position yourself. What is the verbiage? What are you saying? Who is your listing targeted to? So, like I kind of mentioned before, I really like working with softwares and apps, not not just because I don't want to wait for shipping times on physical products, but also because brands that are in the e-commerce space, the fintech space, anything with tech, they're going to have way bigger budgets than beauty brands with clothing brands. Like any kind of brands like that. I'm sorry, like e-commerce, fintech, tech, banking, those are always going to pay you much higher. So with me, like I said, I like to think about things very strategically. And if I'm going to do something and spend time doing it, I need to be getting paid well for my expertise. So from the beginning, that was just something that I decided. I want to work with the brands that actually have the budget. So that's why I knew from the beginning I was going into e-commerce, tech, fintech, banking, all that good stuff. So I started there from the beginning, and I think that's something that really separates me from a lot of people because I know a lot of beginner UGC creators start out with fashion and beauty. And I think that that might be because a lot of UGC creators typically just talk about fashion and beauty. That's like what they show. Not a lot of people or not a lot of UGC creators really show what it's like to like work with tech brands and stuff like that. So I think that with the industry really becoming more popular and people learning more about UGC, everyone's just starting with fashion and beauty because that's what they see. So definitely, if you're going to start, I would say that you should work with the brands who actually genuinely excite you. Like if you have pets and you're a big pet lover and you want to get free pet stuff and, create fun, funky, creative videos for pet brands, then, that's aligned for you. That works. But if you are a mother and you want to get a bunch of free mom stuff and kid stuff and maybe an outdoor playground or free clothes or something like that, maybe you want to go into the motherhood niche. Like you can really choose what type of work you want to do. And that's another reason why I love UGC because this is your business and you should be treating it like a business because you get to choose who you work with. You get to choose when you work, what type of projects you take on, what your capacity is, what your boundaries are. Like, are you accepting payment afterwards or do you require payment upfront? Things like that. You get to choose it all. So it's really important to think about some of this stuff from the beginning, and you're not going to have it all worked out. Like I have been doing this for 2 years, and I have just now made it a boundary in my business where I accept payment upfront. I just got like, I don't know, I was just tired of doing the work before I got paid, and I really thought about it, and I'm like, other other freelancers like for coaching and mentorship, right? Like you don't just get a month of mentorship and then you decide to pay your coach afterwards, right? No, you sign a contract, you pay the invoice, and then you get the mentorship. Like not even just with that, like for getting a website built out. You don't get your website and then you're like, okay, I'll pay now. No, like, so I was just like, why am I creating content before I'm being paid? I want to be paid for my expertise first. I'm going to feel very well compensated for that. I'm going to feel more energetically involved because for me, money is all about energy. And I won't lie, if somebody pays me up front, I'm going to feel a lot happier going into it and actually creating the concept for it than if I haven't received anything, right? It's all about energy. Money is give and take. So that's just something that like I recently incorporated. But all of these things are going to come to you guys over time. There's not a lot of stuff that goes into this business, but at the same time, there is a lot of stuff that goes into this business. You are constantly going to evolve and get better, get more experienced. But you have to just take the leap and actually get started. And that's the thing that like so many people just get stuck in their heads over. You're not experienced enough. You can't create like good content. And I showed you guys the content that I usually create. It's very simple. I have good lighting. I talk on camera. Maybe you just need to practice speaking on camera because that is a skill. But I'm telling you, like, if you guys show up and speak on camera for 10 to 15 minutes a week, you will be so much farther ahead than like anybody else. So, okay, now let's talk about. Okay, no, we're still on the lean back and track method. So we talked about Fiverr and Upwork. Those are really great platforms to get on, front load your work, optimize your listings and your accounts so that you can receive inbounds on the daily. The next tip that I have for this lean back and track method is to start a new social media for UGC, or if you have a personal brand and you already have that, and maybe you share about your e-commerce stuff on there, then maybe just open it up to talk about UGC on there as well. And you don't have to give UGC tips as far as like, this is how to be a UGC creator, like anything like that. What I'm talking about is I want you to showcase your work. So if you just created a paid video, and you like it and you're like, I want to show this off, what you can do, and this is actually what I'm going to really start doing because I realized that I do not share enough about my UGC work on my personal brand is, you can record a little video. Hey, let me share a UGC video that I just created for so and so. Super excited for you guys to check it out. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do a quick little transition, show the 30-second video that you did. That is going to open up so many doors for you to get paid because you use some optimized hashtags. Brands are going to find this content. Brands are literally on social media, stalking, scrolling, trying to find the next creator for their brand. So I really like TikTok because the visibility and the algorithm on TikTok is just so much more friendly than Instagram. That's just like what I have found personally. And even with a lot of the brands that I work with, as like for retainer partnerships, when I create monthly content for them, my content on TikTok always performs way better than content on Instagram. YouTube Shorts is another platform that is very algorithm friendly as well. So if you're going to start posting your UGC examples, which you definitely should, I would prioritize TikTok or YouTube versus like Instagram, but you definitely can use Instagram as well. Might as well, since like we want our content to always go as far as we can. But like I said, make it simple. Like just share your work. Hey, I did this for so and so. What do you think? Like just share that work, use optimized hashtags, and maybe put something in your bio about being a UGC creator, and then maybe if you have a link in bio already, you can go ahead and put like a free 15-minute consultation call. And you can put like, hey, like book a call if you're a brand that wants UGC. Just super simple things that is going to allow you to attract and call in paid projects once you do this work. So the other thing too, like if you have a social media and you're going to start sharing about UGC, have a pinned post about how to work with you as a UGC creator. What style of videos can you create? Who do you like to work with? What's the typical like delivery time or timeline? What's the workflow that you go through? So for example, my workflow looks like I'm going to onboard the client. I'm going to send you a welcome or I'm going to send you a little onboarding form so that I ask you all of the necessary questions for your brand, who you are, what your objective is for this campaign, like what's your key performance indicators, whether it's signups, it's conversions, it's sales, it's general brand awareness, like you'll be able to create more tailor-made content for the brand if you know some general questions. So that's why like an intake form or an onboarding form is super, super helpful, and it really positions you as an expert. Brands work with creators all day long. And I'm telling you, not all creators operate the same way. And I've mentioned this a couple times about treating this as a business and really like portraying yourself as very professional. And I'm telling you, it works so well. If you do this and you send an onboarding form and you really like take those answers into account when you're creating your script, when you're doing your videos. Like, so for example, if the brand colors are purple and white, maybe I'm going to wear a purple shirt. Just little details like that. You want to be thinking about it from a marketing perspective. Now, like I said, this is a little bit more like advanced expert stuff that I'm talking about. You might not have those same thoughts when creating content at first. That is okay. Like I'm saying, like you are going to get there. You just have to start, and then you will get the experience. The experience is actually going to come from you putting in the reps. You're not just going to know this stuff. So you have to like make those mistakes when starting. There has been so many times where I have filmed, well, not really anymore, but one of the beginner mistakes I would make is I would film and I wouldn't wipe off my front camera or my back camera. It's like such a simple mistake, but it really affects the quality of the video. And after so many times of me having to refilm because I'm a fucking idiot that doesn't wipe off my camera lens, I learned, okay, let me wipe off my camera lens. It's all going to come through you guys actually putting in the reps and gaining the actual experience. Okay, so that was about starting your social media for UGC. Now, you can also partner with agencies to pitch on your behalf. So, if you guys are interested in this and you've already created some content, even if you haven't, go ahead and create some content and then message me on Instagram. But I have actually just started a creative agency, just filed my LLC like last month. So, super excited for that. But as you know, I've been a UGC creator for years. And now I'm to the point where I want to do more CEO type shit, right? Like, I don't want to be the one that is behind the camera all the time. I actually want to be in a place where I'm overseeing everything. I'm working with multiple brands and I'm overseeing everything, their social media management, their paid ads, like the content that's going out in that way. And I want to be more of the head person. I don't want to just be the actor on the screen. And even though being a UGC creator has served me very well throughout the years, and I do love it, and I still will continue to do it, it's just not the scalable method for me because, like I said, I'm only one person. I can only do so many videos per month, right? Like, if I want to make 20K profit months with UGC, my ass would be busy. I'd be filming a lot of videos. Whether if I operate as an agency and I now outsource creators, I'm going to be able to hit 20K profit months a lot faster and easier if I have a team behind me. So you can partner with agencies that will pitch yourself on your behalf. So why I brought up my whole situation is that now I'm an agency, so I can help you guys get paid deals. If you guys have portfolio pieces to show me and I can present that to a brand, I can start pitching you. So if you guys are serious about this and you want to create some examples, that would be great. I mean, you need them anyway, whether you're going to like partner with my agency or be a solo creator by yourself, you'll need the portfolio anyway. But partnering with agencies can be helpful. I have definitely partnered with a few agencies already because it's easy, like you just onboard with them. You usually hop on a call and they ask you some questions about yourself, what brands you like to work for, like what categories, what style of content you like, what are your prices. You send them your portfolio, they have that on file, and then they'll be pitching a bunch of brands and they'll pitch you if they think it's a fit. So there's a couple different, well, there's multiple agencies. If you look up UGC agencies, you can scroll through on the internet and check them out, see which ones. But that's another good way to really like front load the work and then have it come back to you later on. So both methods, the lean back and attract method and also the go-getter method, they're both going to require active work. It's just some of them, like the lean back and attract method, you're going to be front loading all of your work. And the go-getter method is you're going to be more actively doing that work all the time. So the work is required regardless. You have to do it at some point, whether it's, later down the line or if it's very active in the moment. Okay, so now let's talk about how to find brands and then we'll start wrapping it up. But UGC is all around us, right? UGC is everywhere on social media. So social media is actually one of the best ways to find UGC because for one, if I'm seeing an ad, that likely means it's because I'm interested in it, right? It's popping up on my feed because the algorithm knows me and they know that I'm into shapewear or they know that I'm into like lip stain products, for example. That's just some ads that come up on my stuff. So if I'm seeing it, it's because I'm interested in it. If I'm interested in it, I'm down to create content for that. Like that would be fun, right? Because not only am I getting paid to create content for this, but I'm also getting free product, which is another benefit of UGC. I love it so much because last year I really didn't have to buy any Christmas presents for people. Everything that I gave them was all literally brand new UGC products that I received for brand partnerships. And I just get so much stuff that I don't use it all. I don't need to. I don't need it. Some stuff I'm like, oh no, my dad would love that, stuff like that. It happens all the time. So last Christmas, I probably spent less than like $200 in total, and I usually spend over $1,000. So that was a win. But yeah, if you see any social media ads that pop up, whether it's in the feed when you're scrolling on like your For You page or whatever, or if it's on stories, because a lot of times I'll be watching stories and then I see like the sponsored ads pop up, right? That means that that brand has a budget for UGC. That means that the brand is already using UGC creators. That also means that the brand already is familiar with how this stuff works. So if you pitch them as a UGC creator, they're not going to be like, what is UGC? No, they're going to be like, oh, a UGC creator. Let me check out her work. Let me see what's up. And then they'll make the decision from there. So anytime you see ads, what I like to do is I save it on my Instagram folder. And I primarily like to use Instagram for this. Like, I know TikTok does have ads and stuff that pop up, but I don't know. For some reason, I just like to do it on Instagram. So I will be watching for sponsored ads that come up on Instagram, whether it's in feed or in stories. I'll click on that profile. I'll go to a random post that I see from them and I'll save it to a folder that I have on my Instagram called UGC Leads. Now, what I do is I have my VA go in every week and she goes and she takes all of those UGC leads and she finds their contact emails and then we pitch them. But if you don't have a VA and you want to do this yourself, then that's what you should do. Every week, go into your folder on what you have saved throughout the week before or whatever, and you find all those contact emails and you pitch them. Simple as that. So that is one way. And I'm going to tell you guys how to find the contact emails as well. So that's one way. The other way is Meta Ads Library. This is a very good way as well. You can go on to Meta Ads Library, type that in on Google. A specific page will pop up, and that specific page is going to have all of the ads that are run on Meta on Facebook. So, when they're running ads, they already have experience with UGC creators and they have a budget. So we don't want to just be like pitching random brands. We don't know if they have a social media. We don't know if they use paid ads because we want to be smart with our time. We're all very busy people, right? Like we can't just be like shooting aimlessly and hoping it works out. We need to have a very good understanding and idea in our mind. No, this brand needs UGC. They already paid for it. There's a 50-50 shot they're going to pay me for it. So that's the way I like to think about it. So to find the brand's contact. So if let's say like you found a company on Meta Ads Library and you'd really like to pitch them, it's like this outdoor playground that you really would love for your kids. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to LinkedIn. You're going to type in that company's name on the LinkedIn search bar. The company is going to pop up because any professional company that's like actually worth working with and has a budget is going to be on LinkedIn. And they're going to have a professional page set up. So you'll go to their page. There's a section called contacts right at the top. You'll go to contacts, and then it'll show you a bunch of people who work for that company, the VP, the president, the COO, the CEO. What you want to be looking for is any kind of titles that point you in the direction of digital marketing, social media marketing, influencer partnership, partnership manager, anything like that. Those are the people that you want. So then you'll take all of those contacts. Well, no, sorry. From there, you'll get an extension called Lead Leaper. You can pay for this. I think it's $39 a month for you to get unlimited contacts. And this is also not even just a good way for UGC contacts. This is also a great way to lock down wholesale accounts. If you're trying to find an email and you go to the LinkedIn page and you find that, and then you can find like the supplier info and the contact emails through Lead Leaper as well. So Lead Leaper, $39 a month for unlimited emails, or you can just use the free version, and I think you get 20 emails per month. So, you can test it out, see how you like it at first, and then definitely it's worth getting the upgrade to the unlimited emails because you're going to need it. You're going to send way more than 20 pitches, or you should be if you're actually trying to hit 5 and 10K months. So, okay, let's see. So that was Lead Leaper. Now, some of my favorite tips for actually landing deals with minimum time, because I really only do UGC maybe 10 hours a week, and I'm able to make 5K per month. So it definitely, like I said, it pays well. And if you're doing things right and you have systems in place, you can work pretty minimally and still get paid this much. So some of my favorite tips to do this is this app, or it's not an app, it's a website. It's called Bento, Bento. This is for automated pitching, and it also finds all the contact emails for you. So you're probably like, Jade, why didn't you just start with that? Like, oh my God. And it's a good tip. It's a really good tip. But I think that you need to have experience with a couple different workflows, right? So I actually have my VA we call it our bento pitching workflow, and then we have our regular pitching workflow. So the regular one is me actually having like UGC leads in my Instagram folder. These are the companies that I would love to work with. I see their ads pop up on my feed and I'm like, oh man, like I'd love to work with them. So she finds those contacts, we pitch them. And it's all manual, right? Because she pitches them, she creates a pitch using ChatGPT. I also have templates, and then she sends them out. She does the scheduling, she does the what is it called? The follow-up emails, because you need to be following up probably 2 to 3 times. So she does all of that. With Bento, everything is automated. So it sends off your email, you'll schedule it. If the brands don't reply, it's completely automated. It'll send your follow-ups, 2 to 3 follow-ups. You don't have to go in and do a thing. All you have to do is create the initial email. So that's what's cool about Bento. What I have found though using Bento is that it will provide you with all of the contacts, but it doesn't always provide you with specific marketing contacts. A lot of the time, what I have found is that it actually pulls customer support contacts, which can be good because I have found that a lot of the support people will actually email back with the marketing contact and be like, hey, this is our regular support line. If you email so and so for marketing, they'll be happy to help you. So then that's good. That's where you can go in and manually send that pitch again and everything like that. So that's why I think it's good to be familiar with different ways of getting clients because you are going to want to experiment with a couple different ways and find out which one works the best for you. So for me, which one works the best is my regular pitching workflow, which I had just mentioned. I have UGC leads that I like, brands that I want to work with. My VA does everything manually and pitches them. I think that now I'm actually going to start really focusing on my personal brand and positioning myself as a UGC creator on that. So I think in a few months, that's completely going to shift. And my new prioritized and favorite way of getting deals is just going to be from brands finding my page on Instagram and seeing I'm a UGC creator and maybe messaging me, or maybe I'll message the brand directly on Instagram. Hey, I'm a UGC creator. Are you guys open for any collaborations? Something like that. So it's going to shift, but it's definitely good to be experienced with a couple different ways. Okay, so the next tip is to outsource to an overseas VA. So I've mentioned a couple times about how my VA helps me and how she is like the reason why I have been able to get to this place in my business so effortlessly because she works 10 to 15 hours a week for me on primarily client acquisition for UGC. I have her do some other stuff too, but primarily it's solid 10 hours of work. And this is stuff that I could be doing or I could pay her. So, typically when you hire an overseas VA, I know you guys, some of you may already have VAs, so you might be familiar with like the pay scale over there, but typically in like countries like the Philippines, $4 to $7 is pretty standard. And I pay my VA $7. I have 3 VAs now, so I actually pay them all $7. And that is like pretty good for over there. And I do that intentionally because I want them to feel very supported. I really appreciate them. And I want to have a very like a good work culture and let them know like this is not just a regular assistant position. I always tell them from the beginning, like when my company grows, you will grow with me. So that's just something that is for me. So that's why I've chosen to pay them $7 an hour. But, for example, if you pay someone at $7 an hour to work 10 hours per week, that could be between 300 and 500 pitches that they send out. I'm talking good pitches that are customized. If you guys have templates, like these, it's going to be great. That's 300 to 500 pitches. So with a solid pitch, let's say like you have a couple different templates that you have that really, for one, complement the brand, show who you are, show your work because you're going to like link your portfolio and everything. And I honestly feel like if you have a good portfolio, your work is going to speak for itself. So with a solid pitch, you could easily capture a 5% closing rate off of 300 to 500 pitches sent. So let's say if you pitch 300 to 500 brands, and you have a 5% closing rate, that is, potentially 15 brand deals that you could get just that month from her working or him working 10 hours that month. So it's crazy because 15 brand deals. Now let's talk about how much you're going to charge. Let's say you're a very beginner creator, so you're only charging $100 per video. That is $1,500 in sales, right? And how much did we spend? We paid our VA 10 hours, $7 an hour. We paid $70 to make 1,500. Okay, this is the math that I want you guys to think about and really think about when hiring a VA and outsourcing to someone overseas. And I wouldn't say to do it from the beginning, like as a very beginner creator, I wouldn't say to do that because you do need to have a good understanding of everything before you decide to outsource this. So this is like the same thing with, sourcing. We're not just going to brand new be in our Amazon business and then be like, I'm going to hire my VA to now buy all my products, right? Because like you don't have any skills, you don't have any experience, you don't know what sells, you don't have the reps. You need to put in the reps first. Do this on your own for a month at least, 2 months. Get your reps in so that you're comfortable with pitching. Like you need to know how to find a brand contact's email, for example. You need to know how to send out the email. Like all of this stuff you guys need to know yourself so that then you can actually build a strong and successful team that is going to be able to do all of this stuff for you. Because if you don't and you just kind of expect them to do all this stuff and you're not providing any like guidelines or you have no expectations of how to evaluate them on how they're doing because you don't even know how to do it, it's not going to set you up for success. So I would recommend getting a VA after a month or two as a UGC creator and like actually pitching brands yourself because that's going to be the important thing. The last tip is to prioritize Fiverr because, like I said, I've had a really good amount of success on Fiverr and it's all inbounds. I set up my account my first week and I have made 10K since just effortlessly. These brands will come into my messages. I'll wake up and I'll have, an $1,000 project. And I'm like, oh, cool. So Fiverr can be amazing. If you set it up right, you optimize it, you have multiple listings, and you showcase yourself as the expert. Okay, so now if you guys have any questions, drop it in the chat. I'm going to scroll through the chat right now and catch up. Um, Let me see. Yeah, a lot of people definitely get hung up on needing to be a video producer. They think it's all like aesthetic content and they need to have like all of the most viral editing tricks and, be a master editor in CapCut and everything, like I said. And, that's one way to do it. You can make a lot of money doing it that way because you are now positioning yourself as like a video producer. Like you can produce really edited and dynamic content that is totally a style that you can have, but not the only way to go and not the only way to make money doing this. Okay. Okay, so Canva is for the portfolio. I did mention that. You can use Canva for a lot of other things too, though. So like for your social media, if you're going to start showcasing your work and you're going to make a pinned carousel post about how to work with you as a UGC creator, Canva is amazing. But yes, it's definitely this side hustle online hustle is extremely accessible for everyone and at any income level. Like it does require some skills. You know, you need to be able to get on camera if that's the type of UGC you want to create. You do need to be able to speak well. You know, you can't have like a low voice and be like, look like you're all like scared and timid. You have to like shoulders back, portray confidence. You have to practice, but it's going to come. It's just practice. Okay. Okay, so yes, these videos are sent to the brands, not posted on your own socials. You only post on your own socials if that is what's agreed upon, and you typically charge more money for that. Mhm. Yeah, so Amanda, exactly. Like I take a lot of UGC content without makeup on or anything like that because I do the whole like messy motherhood vibe. And there's been literally like multiple videos where I have literally just woken up and I'm like making coffee and I include that in the video because that's the vibe. Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get paid upfront as well. Because like you don't want to have those what ifs, like what if they don't pay? And I've heard horror stories about brands taking a very long time to pay. I have never had that experience, thank God. I'd lose my shit if I did, but like I know that that happens to some people. So I'm glad that I have set up the expectation and the boundary now from the beginning that I get paid upfront. Okay, so suggestions on hashtags, you want to be using like any kind of UGC related hashtag. So if you go onto Instagram right now and you type in like the hashtag symbol and then UGC, you'll probably see a couple different hashtags pop up. UGC creator, UGC content creator, UGC just by itself, UGC needed, UGC work, UGC partnerships, anything like that, use it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so to contact them, you pitch them via email or you can send them a message on Instagram. But typically, if you're going to send them a message on Instagram, you're usually talking to maybe the social media manager, but not exactly the partnership or the influencer manager or, the content partnership manager. Usually it's different. So if you're going to pitch on DMs, Instagram DMs, what you can do is say like, "Hey, I'm Jade. I'm a UGC creator of 3 years. I absolutely love your brand, Bath and Body Works. I would love to discuss the partnership. Are you able to point me in the direction of anyone who I could speak with about this?" Ask them to send you the contact of someone who actually does this shit because you're not talking to the right person currently. And if you can get an email, that is the best because usually that's just the best way that you can communicate with someone versus like Instagram DMs. Yes, hire my agency. I love it. Okay, so I found my VA on Fiverr, and that was my first VA. I found her on Fiverr. I recently hired two more VAs off of Upwork, and for them, like I didn't just put in virtual assistant, I actually put in social media assistant because I wanted to have a VA who was already kind of seasoned in social media. So now I have VAs that are also going to help with graphic design, video editing, things like that, because I don't just want someone doing like the manual tasks or very like logistical tasks like email pitching. I want somebody who's very well versed in social media to do all of it. So yeah, Upwork or Fiverr is great to find VAs. Okay. Do you have a question about the variety of styles in the portfolio, Brian, or is this just a comment?
No, it was more or less. You had said a couple different like variety of styles. What were the different styles? You're
Yeah,
like different
so
angles, or what? What was it?
Okay, well, there's spokesperson style videos. Then that's just where you have the script and you're like just conveying the message that they want you to say. It's a very basic little editing. You could have like very curated ads, which might include like some dynamic shots, like some angles up here, like over here, a switch up, not like all one background or clip. It's like it's engaging, it's dynamic. There's also like very organic looking content. So just you naturally in a very natural environment, not even with a ring light. Like this type of content should look so natural. And that's the purpose because brands want that natural content so people think it's real and then they buy the product. Um, Yeah, so those are like the three main types of UGC, but there's also faceless videos and then also just B-roll content, where you like have the B-roll. A lot of people have like B-roll of them working at their desk, maybe like sipping a coffee, and then they either put like a voiceover over that, hey, buy this product, I got it at so and so, or even just like standard text right on top. So yeah, literally there is a way for everything. And honestly, Brian, like what you already do with Martyr and how you like shout them out on some videos sometimes, or you have saw you like create some videos of like using Get Martyr and you out in like Ross or Marshall sourcing, like that is literally UGC. Like you're already creating it. So I think a lot of people don't even realize that they're already doing this. It's crazy. Okay. Yay. I'm so excited that you're excited about this. Okay. Yes, that is it, guys. I am so glad that you guys thought this was a great call. I know it was a very jam-packed, but I want to give you guys a lot of information. So if you need to hop off now, absolutely feel free. If you want to stick around and you also want to get support with actually doing this stuff, because I know that, a lot of people would really appreciate some hand-holding as you go through, then stick around and I'll take 2 minutes and I'll explain to you about my group coaching program that is going to be launching in July. I haven't really shared about this anywhere on Instagram, so you won't be able to find this anywhere else. But if you guys are interested, just DM me personally on Instagram at just Jade Johnson, and I will send you more information. But basically, it's going to be a 3 month long group coaching program. It's going to be a mix of live calls, pre-recorded trainings, and messaging support. Thank you for the Instagram handle. I was just doing that. So yeah, it's going to be 3 months together. We're going to do everything. So you will get my support with pitching brands, negotiating, setting rates, creating your portfolio, actually learning how to create the different styles of UGC and how to actually make it good. Outsourcing to a VA, how to set up your systems, how to train your VA, how to, set up your workflow and your systems together for your business, different boundaries that you can set up, all of the things. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a very simple business, but it is good to have some support sometimes so that you don't make the beginner mistakes. And I had to make a lot of beginner mistakes myself. And that's okay. That's perfect if that's the path. But if you are somebody who wants to do this and you want to hit 5K months quickly within your first couple months, then I would suggest getting support and learning from somebody who has done it. So we're going to be starting in July. And if any of you guys are interested, just for being on this call, I'll give you an extremely discounted rate. And it's honestly crazy, but I just want to support you guys and really help you with this because, I know that all of you guys are my type of people. You guys are hustlers, you are entrepreneurs, and UGC can be life-changing. And I think that it's just so crazy because I worked really, really hard in my Amazon business last year and it's amazing. And I still love selling on Amazon. I really do. But I don't know. 85, 90% profit margins really have me like turned on right now for UGC. So that's kind of where my attention has been. But basically, this program, when I actually launch it and I market it, you are going to see me market this and sell this as over $1,000. I haven't come to the exact price yet, but it's definitely going to be over $1,000. If you're on this call or you're watching the replay and you would like to join the program, then I will give you the pre-sale price of $499. There will be 2 to 3 month payment plans if you guys need that, but that is just a special price for you guys. And then also, since we're starting in July, if you join now, you'll also get access to my membership right away so that we can get started. You get monthly calls, you get messaging access in my membership. It's super fun. So you kind of get like a nice little bonus. So yes, definitely a steal, honestly. It's crazy. But if you actually do the work that I'm going to teach you guys in that program, your ROI will be insane. Your ROI will be insane. I promise you. Like there's a few things that go into UGC, pitching yourself, making good content, actually positioning yourself and conveying yourself as an expert, as a professional, negotiating. There's a couple fundamental pieces. Once you learn that, you can make so much money and you can do so quickly. So yeah, I love it. It has changed my life and it has really allowed me to be a stay-at-home mom and still make pretty decent money while only working part-time. And I really only work whenever my kids go to bed. So a lot of times you'll see me on my Instagram stories. I take care of my family all day long. And then once they go to sleep, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I start working until like 12, 1 in the morning. So that's kind of how I've been able to do it, and I think it is amazing. But I really appreciate you guys and for, you know, taking the time to like hear all of this stuff and being open. So if you guys want to get the deal for that, you can message me on Instagram after this at just Jade Johnson, and we can talk more about it. We can make sure it's the right fit. But I mean, if you stayed through this entire workshop and you're like, damn, like I want to do that, I think that it would be a great choice. So yeah, just message me on Instagram at justjjohnson and we can talk more. But thank you guys so much. I know that it has been a jam-packed, a long workshop. So I hope you guys take some good notes. You'll get the replay as well. And if you guys have any other questions, you can reach out to me on Instagram and we'll chat more.
Thank you so much, Jade. This is you just jammed a lot in there, and what were we at? An hour and a half. I really appreciate that. That was
Yes.
super inspiring. Super
Good.
inspiring.
I'm so glad.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely. I mean, I came into all this like a lot of us are doing, a lot of. Here, let me stop this.